What the world needs now is love, sweet love. And now people of a certain age have got the lyrics of a Burt Bacharach song and the smooth voice of Dionne Warwick in their heads. Actually, for a really good sermon about love, it would be hard to beat Michael Curry's. Do you remember his sermon at the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? And if you'd rather go and listen to him than listen to me, that's fine. Feel free. It's on YouTube. We heard St. Paul's words, "Owe no one anything except to love. One who loves has fulfilled the law." He's echoing Jesus, of course, who said that the greatest of the Jewish commandments is to love God. And the second is just as important. It's to love your neighbour as yourself. The ancient Jewish wisdom was always more about relationship than anything else. Relationship with God and relationships within the community. When I was looking for images to go with the prayers for this service, I found this. It's an image of St. Paul's other famous passage about love, 1 Corinthians 13, the one Michael Curry preached on at the wedding. But there's more going on. Leanne Blackwood, who created this image, is a photographer. And the image also gives us her own reflection upon the passage. The paper is burnt. That underlines for me that love, however deep and however sincere, will be put to the test. Love is patient, but patience is very close to being scorched. Love is kind, it doesn't envy or boast. It's not proud or rude or self-seeking. It's not easily angry. But the word easily is marked in red. Can love be pushed and tested to destruction? Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in... And the typist here seems to stutter over the word truth. Pontius Pilate said, "What is truth?" Truth can be distorted by lies, by non-disclosures, by wishful thinking. People can have different versions of the truth and we don't always know what to believe. But we don't get to give up. Love is what we need, and it's what the world needs. And even though love might be scorched and tested, we need to keep going. That will be in our own human, flawed and imperfect way. But we need to keep going and not give up. Because love is what we need. Matthew's Gospel tells us about Jesus' advice about settling a conflict within the church community. And to put it into context, it follows the story of the lost sheep, where the shepherd leaves the 99 in the fold and goes to bring back the one that's lost. And maybe, when Matthew was arranging his material, the story of the lost sheep was raising questions for him. How far do you go in trying to restore a relationship? What if the sheep refuses to come back? Is there a point where you can't do anything, or where you have to give up? So after the story of the lost sheep, there's this advice about how to handle conflict within the church community. It's within the church, because it says, if a brother has wronged you. But it seems to me that many company policies follow this kind of approach these days. That if you can, you settle the dispute informally between yourselves first, and then you might need to involve somebody else. You might need a second opinion. And it can be a good idea to ask somebody the question, am I being unreasonable? In a company, you'd probably talk to your line manager or some other senior person. And then, if you haven't reached a resolution, it can start getting more complicated and more formal. There might be procedures to go through, a mediation procedure, a grievance procedure maybe. In church, if we can't settle an issue, we might ask the minister to become involved. And again, formal procedures might be invoked. And then if we arrive at a resolution, we've won our brother or sister. And that's the optimum result. The aim is for the relationship to be restored. But if you can't, and you've done all that you can do, then you're not expected to keep trying indefinitely. There comes the point where the best thing you can do is not engage with that person anymore. It sounds quite a simple set of steps, doesn't it? But how easy is it in practice to resolve a conflict? Anywhere, at work, at home, in church, wherever. Emotions easily get stirred up and people can feel hurt and aggrieved for a very long time. We can feel reluctant to let go of an issue. The history of the church shows that we're sometimes not very good at resolving things, and we can get to the last stage very quickly of going separate ways rather than winning our brothers and sisters. Our recent experience of COVID-19 and lockdown has brought additional stress to many of us, putting pressure on our finances, education, employment, and especially on our relationships. We need love. We're so blessed in our local community that there has been support for the most vulnerable. And there's been the technology to keep businesses and education and the church going. But how difficult it was for people who had to work at home and simultaneously homeschool their children. How difficult it was for people without a computer or a good broadband connection to stay in touch. And how difficult for people who had to lock down in homes that were not really big enough and with family relationships that were already strained. We need love. And it's love that helps us to see the value in all people, to acknowledge the rights of all people and the needs of all people, as well as ourselves, and helps us to want good things for others. And we need wisdom. We need to remember that we ourselves can be wrong, and that's why somebody else's opinion can be all important. That question, am I being unreasonable? If you've asked the right person, they'll be honest with you. Sometimes we need more formal, official help. I'm here at home not knowing who's watching, not knowing who might be going through a conflict situation right now. If there's a situation that's live for you right now, then I hope there's been something in our readings you can take hold of. The need for love. To remember that you and the person you're struggling with are equally held in God's love. The need to get a second opinion, because you can't always see the wood for the trees, and neither can the other person. And the need for a more formal option, if all else fails. And then the point where you have to stop, because you might have got to the end of what's within your power to do. If you are affected by any of the issues raised, please don't carry on alone. Please use the contact details on our website, or for your local church, whatever's appropriate for you. Or speak to a friend that you trust. But be assured that you are held in God's love, whatever else might be happening around you. And the church is here for you when you need us.